The Mountain View Golf Club gleams under the September sunset, its manicured greens a stark contrast to the dust and grit of Afghanistan that still haunts my memories. I trace the condensation on my water glass, watching it pool against the crisp, white tablecloth. My dress uniform feels like a second skin, pressed and perfect, a costume of respectability I've worn too many times tonight. Across the table, Jake's hand rests possessively near mine, his platinum watch catching the restaurant's soft lighting. We're here for his company's annual leadership retreat, and I'm hyper-aware of every set of eyes in the room. Jake introduced me earlier as his +1, the word sliding out with a casual dismissiveness that made my spine straighten. I'm more than just a date. I'm Captain Rachel Henderson, Purple Heart recipient, currently transitioning from military service to civilian leadership consulting. But tonight, I'm reduced to an accessory, a prop in Jake's carefully curated corporate narrative. 6 months ago, I would have been thrilled to be here. 6 months ago, Jake represented everything I thought I wanted after years of military service. Stability. Success. A pathway to civilian life that felt like a logical next step. We met through a veterans networking event in Denver, and his tech startup seemed like the perfect landing zone for my post-military career. Jake worked as a senior product manager at Quantum Dynamics, a cybersecurity firm that contracted with defense departments. He understood the military world, or so, I thought. The conversations around us blur into a familiar white noise. Tech executives discussing market penetration, startup valuations, the kind of language that replaced military jargon in my new world. I catch snippets about venture capital, about disrupting industries, about success measured in quarterly reports, instead of mission accomplishments. Another glass of wine, babe? Jake's voice cuts through my thoughts. I notice how he emphasizes babe, a performance for his colleagues. I nod, watching as he signals the sommelier, his movements practiced and smooth. My mind drifts to the Purple Heart pinned inside my dress uniform's inner pocket. Not a decoration I wear externally, but a reminder of what I've survived. An IED in Kandahar province 6 years ago. 2 tours in Afghanistan. A body that carries more stories than most people would ever understand. Rehabilitation. Physical therapy. The slow, grueling process of rebuilding myself, piece by painful piece. Jake doesn't know all those details. Not really. He knows the polished version. The version that fits neatly into dinner party conversations. Decorated veteran. Successful transition. Potential business consultant. The wine arrives. A Cabernet that costs more than my monthly utility bills during my first year of military service. Jake swirls it expertly. Another performance for his colleagues seated nearby. Marketing executives, product managers, the kind of corporate warriors who fight battles with spreadsheets and PowerPoint presentations. To us, he says, raising his glass. I clink mine against his, noting the slight tremor in my hand. A remnant from the injuries, something I've learned to hide but never fully eliminate. Karen Miller, Jake's direct report, leans across the table. She's wearing a designer dress that probably costs more than my entire dress uniform. So, Rachel, Jake tells us you're starting a veteran leadership consulting firm? The question hangs in the air. I feel Jake's leg press against mine under the table. A subtle warning, a reminder. We're in the planning stages, Jake answers before I can speak. Rachel's still exploring her options. His voice carries a patronizing tone that makes my military training kick in, years of maintaining composure flooding back. I've learned to read rooms, to assess situations, and right now, this room feels like a minefield. Each conversation, a potential explosion. Each glance, a potential threat. The waiter approaches with menus. Jake waves him away. We'll have the chef's tasting menu, for both of us. Another performance, another demonstration of corporate power. 6 courses, wine pairings, the kind of meal that would feed an entire platoon back in Afghanistan. The irony isn't lost on me. As the first course arrives, something delicate involving microgreens and a foam I can't identify, Jake's phone buzzes. He glances down, his expression shifting. Just for a moment, a micro-expression most would miss. But I'm not most people. I've been trained to notice details. Everything okay? I ask. Fine, he responds quickly. Too quickly. The first course is placed before me, artfully arranged. Probably costs more than my monthly VA benefits. I think about the soldiers I served with. About Sarah, who lost her leg in the same convoy that almost took mine. About Mike, who's still struggling to find work after 3 tours. This world, with its expensive wines and carefully curated performances, feels galaxies away from the reality of military service. To veterans, I say softly, raising my own wine glass. But the toast feels hollow, performative. Jake doesn't even seem to hear me. The evening stretches before me, a landscape of corporate performative masculinity. And I'm acutely aware that I'm about to become a character in a story I didn't write, didn't choose, but will be forced to navigate. The first course arrives, and with it, the first tremors of a narrative about to dramatically unfold. The restaurant's ambient noise fades as Jake's voice cuts through my thoughts. You're not really going to eat that, are you? His comment lands like a precision-guided missile, targeting my carefully maintained composure. I look down at the artfully plated dish, a delicate arrangement of protein and vegetables that probably took more time to create than most military mission plans. What do you mean? My voice is neutral, controlled. Jake leans in, his voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carries more weight than a full-volume conversation. Come on, Rachel. We both know you're here for the free meal. These corporate events aren't exactly your natural habitat. The words hang in the air between us. Gold digger. The accusation isn't spoken, but it might as well be carved into the crystal wine glasses. Karen Miller, seated 2 chairs down, catches enough of the interaction to make my skin prickle. Her perfectly manicured nails tap against her wine glass. Jake's colleagues are experts at pretending not to hear. But in military and corporate, worlds alike, nothing stays hidden for long. I'm here because we're partners, I respond, my military training keeping my voice steady. But something inside me is already preparing for battle. Not the kind of battle I fought in Afghanistan. This is a different terrain, more treacherous, more personal. The evening continues its slow, painful progression. Each course arrives like another tactical maneuver. Jake grows more bold with each glass of wine, more cutting, more dismissive. You know, he says loudly enough, for the surrounding tables to hear. Rachel's still trying to figure out her civilian career. Veterans sometimes struggle with transitions. His laugh is performance. His words are a weapon. I remember my first leadership training after returning from deployment. How to maintain composure under pressure. How to read a room. How to survive when the environment turns hostile. The sommelier approaches, refilling wine glasses. Jake's hand accidentally knocks over my water glass. Crystal shatters against the pristine white floor. Heads turn. Conversations pause. I'm so sorry, he says, but his eyes tell a different story. I know this moment. I've been trained for moments like these. Assess, evaluate, respond. No problem, I say, helping to clean up. But something is shifting, something fundamental. When the bill arrives, it sits like an unexploded ordnance between us. $312, not including wine, not including tip. Jake reaches for the leather folder, pauses, looks at me. I forgot my corporate card, he says. The statement hangs in the air. A challenge. A test. The restaurant falls silent, not the silence of a combat zone, but something equally charged, equally dangerous. My mind races through the month's expenses. The VA benefits, the startup costs, for my consulting business, the careful budgeting I've maintained since leaving active duty. I've got it, I hear myself say. The words taste like ash. Jake's smile is triumph personified. His colleagues exchange glances. Karen Miller's perfectly shaped eyebrow raises just a fraction. Outside, the Denver night is cool. September in Colorado carries a crispness that reminds me of mountain deployments, of moments before missions, of anticipation. Jake walks ahead. I trail behind. The distance between us is more than physical. My phone buzzes. A text from Sarah, my closest friend from my military unit, the one person who knows me beyond performances and corporate dinners. How's the fancy dinner? Her message reads. I stare at the screen. How do you explain a moment of complete psychological demolition in a text message? Interesting, I type back. Then add, we need to talk. The ride home is silent. Jake doesn't turn on music, doesn't attempt conversation. The tension is a living thing between us. I think about my military training, about resilience, about survival. This feels like another mission, another terrain to navigate. When we arrive at Jake's downtown Denver loft, something has fundamentally changed. The space that once felt like a potential future now feels like enemy territory. We need to talk, I say. The words are a declaration, a mission objective. Jake's response will determine everything that comes next. The loft feels like a minefield. Jake's carefully curated space, all industrial concrete and minimalist furniture, suddenly feels suffocating. I've navigated actual minefields in Afghanistan with more emotional safety than this moment. Sit, Jake says. Not a request. A command. I remain standing. Years of military training have taught me more than just combat skills. They've taught me about power, about posture, about never giving someone the advantage they don't deserve. I think we need to talk about what happened at dinner, I begin. My voice is steady, controlled. The same voice I used during mission debriefs. The same voice that kept my unit calm. During high-stress situations, Jake's laugh is sharp, cutting. What happened? You mean how you embarrassed me in front of my entire team? The accusation hangs in the air. I realize now that this conversation was never going to be a dialogue. It was always going to be an interrogation. I embarrassed you? The words come out slower, more measured. By existing? By being present at an event you invited me to? He moves closer. Not physically threatening, but the psychological pressure is intense. I recognize this tactic. I've seen it before. In combat zones, in high-stress negotiations, the attempt to make you question your own perception of reality. You know how important these networking events are, Jake says. And you showed up looking, he pauses, searches for the right word. Unprofessional. I'm wearing my dress uniform. Pressed. Perfect. The same uniform that represents years of service, years of sacrifice, years of proving myself in environments far more challenging than a corporate dinner. I explain the situation, leaving nothing out. The dinner, Jake's comments, the bill, the public humiliation. We need a plan, Mike says. Not a question, a strategy. I think about my consulting business, the veterans leadership program I'm developing. How something like this could derail everything. First, Mike says, we document everything. Sarah nods. Agreement written across her face. The coffee shop around us continues its morning rhythm. Corporate workers, freelancers, students, none of them understanding the strategic conversation happening at our small table. I want to be clear, I say. I'm not looking for revenge. I'm looking for accountability. Mike's voice through the speakerphone is measured. Accountability comes in many forms. Sometimes it's legal, sometimes it's professional, sometimes it's simply telling the truth. We spend the next 2 hours mapping out a plan, gathering evidence, documenting interactions. Professional communications, Sarah pulls out a notebook. Military issue, waterproof, durable. The kind of notebook that has survived multiple deployments. Let's break this down, she says. Corporate communication logs, text messages, email threads. Each piece of evidence carefully cataloged. He works for Quantum Dynamics, Mike says. Their HR department takes these things seriously. I think about my own professional reputation, about the veterans consulting business I'm building, about the workshops, the leadership training. I don't want this to impact my professional opportunities, I say. Sarah's laugh is understanding. We're not destroying his career. We're creating accountability. The morning progresses. Coffee refilled. Strategies developed. Mike shares contacts. HR professionals who specialize in workplace harassment. Professional networks dedicated to supporting veterans in transition. You're not alone, he repeats. A mantra. A promise. By noon, we have a comprehensive plan, not an attack, a strategy. Who else needs to know? Sarah asks. I think about my family, about the support systems I've carefully built. My sister, I say finally. She works in corporate law. The phone call to Jessica is brief, professional, precise. She listens, asks clarifying questions, the way only a lawyer can. I want documentation, she says. Everything. Emails, text messages, interaction logs. The afternoon becomes a military precision operation, gathering evidence, building a case, not for revenge. For accountability. Mike sends resources, professional networks, support groups for veterans dealing with workplace challenges. Sarah helps me draft communication strategies, how to address this professionally, how to maintain my own integrity. Remember, she says, your story is about your resilience, not his failure. By evening, a plan is in motion, not a destructive plan, a strategic one. My phone buzzes. An unknown number. The message is from Jason, one of Jake's colleagues, someone who was at the dinner. We need to talk. The message reads. I show Sarah. She studies the message carefully. Interesting, she says. Very interesting. The night settles around us, not as a battlefield, but as a landscape of possibility, of strategic planning, of resilience. My consulting business suddenly feels more important, more necessary. To accountability, Sarah says, raising her coffee. I raise my cup in response. A toast to survival, to truth, to moving forward. The text from Jason sits on my phone screen like an unexploded ordnance. Sarah leans in, her military-trained eyes scanning the message with the same precision she once used to read terrain maps. We need to talk. The message reads. No context? No explanation? Do we respond? I ask. Sarah's laugh is sharp, calculated. In our world, intelligence is everything. We gather before we act. Mike sends a secure text moments later. A contact at Quantum Dynamics has flagged some irregularities in Jake's recent expense reports. Nothing concrete. But enough to raise questions, my sister Jessica calls. Her legal background transforms every conversation into a strategic briefing. Corporate communication is a battlefield, she says, and you've got potential allies. The unknown number texts again, this time with more substance. Information about Jake's recent activities, proof of misconduct, can't discuss over text. Military training kicks in. Assess, evaluate, proceed with caution. We need to verify, Mike says through our group call. This could be a trap. Sarah pulls out her laptop. Military-grade encryption protecting every search, every investigation. Jason, she reads from his LinkedIn profile. Senior Product Analyst at Quantum Dynamics, 3 years with the company. Previously worked in military contract verification. The connections start to form, like intelligence gathering, like mission. Planning. Jessica conference calls, her legal expertise cutting through potential complications. If he has verifiable information, she says, we need to document everything. The plan takes shape. Not revenge. Accountability. Jason suggests a meeting. A coffee shop near Quantum Dynamics headquarters. Neutral ground. I'll be there, I tell Sarah and Mike, but we'll have a full tactical approach. The next morning arrives with military precision. My dress is carefully selected, professional, powerful, a uniform of a different kind. Sarah drives, her prosthetic leg no limitation, just another piece of adaptive equipment. Mike provides real-time communication support. Remember, Mike says, intelligence first, emotion second. The coffee shop feels like a mission briefing location. Neutral. Strategic. Jason sits in the corner. Laptop open. Files carefully arranged. You're not what Jake described, he says as I sit down. I say nothing. Waiting. Gathering information. He slides a folder across the table. Expense reports. Communication logs. Internal memos. Jake's been falsifying reports for months. Jason says, padding expenses, creating fictional client meetings. The evidence is comprehensive, detailed, professional. Why are you telling me this? I ask. Jason's response is immediate. Because what he did to you at that dinner, publicly humiliating you, calling you a gold digger, it's not the first time. He shows me previous performance reviews, incident reports, a pattern of behavior carefully documented. He did something similar to Melissa in accounting, Jason continues. She transferred departments after he spread rumors about her. Each piece of information feels like uncovering a complex military operation. Layers of deception. Carefully. Constructed lies. My phone buzzes. Another unknown number. Check your corporate email, the message reads. Sarah, monitoring remotely, sends an encrypted message. Proceed with caution. The email contains forwarded communication, internal memos. Expense report discrepancies. Quantum Dynamics internal communication system reveals more. Jake's performance reviews. His actual job description. Far different from the narrative he'd constructed. He's not a senior product manager, Jason says. He's an administrative assistant. The lies unfold, layer by layer. Like intelligence gathering in a complex conflict zone. The corporate world, I realize, has its own kind of battlefields, its own hidden operations, its own strategic deceptions. What do you want? I ask Jason. Accountability, he responds. For everyone he's impacted. The evidence builds, not just about the dinner, not just about the public humiliation, but a systematic pattern of professional misconduct. My consulting business for veterans suddenly feels more important, more necessary. Supporting professionals in transition. Helping them navigate complex corporate landscapes. Understanding the hidden battles. I want to help expose this, I say finally. Jason slides additional documents across the table. Corporate. Communication logs. Expense report discrepancies. Performance review histories. My sister Jessica begins reviewing the materials. Her legal expertise transforming raw information into a strategic approach. This isn't just about one incident, she says. This is a pattern of professional misconduct. The afternoon progresses. Information gathering. Strategic planning. Sarah monitors remotely. Her military intelligence background proving invaluable. Mike provides additional context. Professional networks. Support systems. You're building a case, he says, not for revenge, for accountability. As the sun begins to set, a plan takes shape. Not destruction, transformation, exposure of systematic professional misconduct, support for those impacted, creating pathways for professional integrity. To truth, Jason says, raising his coffee. I raise my cup in response. A toast to accountability, to resilience, to moving forward. The quantum dynamics conference room feels like a war room. Jason sits to my left, Jessica to my right. Mike and Sarah monitor remotely, their voices a steady presence through encrypted communication channels. Our representatives fill the room. Corporate lawyers, senior management, the kind of professional assembly I once thought Jake represented. We're here to discuss multiple instances of professional misconduct, Jessica begins. Her voice is calm, precise, the way a surgeon might describe a complex procedure. Jake enters late, his carefully constructed persona already beginning to crumble. I remember the dinner, the 312 bill, the public humiliation. But today, I'm not a victim. I'm a strategic witness. The evidence spreads across the conference table. Expense reports, falsified meeting logs, systematic misrepresentations of professional responsibilities. Mr. Thompson, the HR director says, "Can you explain these discrepancies?" Jake's demeanor shifts. From confident corporate warrior to cornered animal. "This is ridiculous," he says, but the words lack conviction. Jason slides additional documentation forward. Communication logs, internal memos, a trail of professional deception so comprehensive it could be a military intelligence briefing. "You're not a senior product manager," I say finally, my voice steady, controlled. "You're an administrative assistant." The room goes silent. Jake's response is immediate, predictable. This is about revenge. She's bitter because I ended our relationship. Jessica's laugh is sharp, professional. "Mr. Thompson, we have documentation dating back 18 months. This is about systemic professional misconduct." The HR director reviews the materials, each page a revelation, each document a nail in Jake's professional coffin. "These expense reports are fraudulent," she says finally. "These client meetings never occurred." Jake's colleagues exchange glances, recognition dawning. The professional network he'd carefully constructed suddenly feels like a house of cards. "I want to address something else," I continue. My military training evident in every word, every gesture. The public humiliation, the $312 dinner bill, the consistent pattern of professional and personal manipulation. Melissa from accounting, the woman Jason mentioned earlier, is also present. Her presence a silent testimony to Jake's previous patterns of behavior. "He did the same thing to me," she says quietly. "Spread rumors. Attempted to discredit my professional capabilities." The HR director's expression hardens. "Mr. Thompson," she says, "you're suspended pending a full investigation." Jake's world collapses in real time. Professional reputation, personal relationships, everything he'd carefully constructed. "This is ridiculous," he repeats. But the words sound hollow, desperate. Jessica outlines potential legal consequences, professional repercussions, the systematic dismantling of Jake's carefully constructed narrative. Outside the conference room, I feel something unexpected, not triumph, not revenge, but a profound sense of accountability. My phone buzzes. A text from Sarah. "How are you holding up?" "Better than expected," I respond. Mike's voice comes through our encrypted group chat. "This is what accountability looks like." The HR director turns to me. "Captain Henderson, we appreciate your professionalism in bringing these issues to light. I think about my consulting business, about the Veterans Leadership Program I'm developing, about supporting professionals in transition. This isn't about me," I say. "This is about creating professional environments of integrity." Jake attempts one final manipulation. "You're destroying my life," he says. Jessica's response is immediate. "No, your actions are destroying your life." The meeting concludes. Jake is escorted out, his corporate access card deactivated, his professional network suddenly aware of his systematic deceptions. In the hallway, Jason approaches. "Thank you," he says, "for having the courage to address this. I think about my military training, about resilience, about standing up for truth." "This was a team effort," I respond. My phone buzzes again, a message from the Veterans Support Network. An opportunity to speak about professional integrity, about supporting veterans in corporate transitions. The day feels like a mission successfully completed, not through destruction, but through strategic, professional accountability. Sarah sends a final message. "Dinner to celebrate?" I smile, thinking about how far I've come, about the support system I've built. "Absolutely," I type back. The Quantum Dynamics building stands behind me, a testament to professional transformation, to truth finding its way to the surface. Another chapter begins. The therapist's office feels like neutral ground, neutral territory, someplace between my military past and my emerging civilian future. Dr. Martinez sits across from me, her silver-framed glasses catching the afternoon light, her notebook open, but untouched. "Tell me about accountability," she says. I laugh. It's not a happy sound. More like something torn from somewhere deep inside. The weeks following the quantum dynamics confrontation have been a landscape of emotional terrain. I'm still learning to navigate. Processing isn't linear. It's not a straight line. It's more like a minefield. Each step careful, deliberate. "I thought I was handling everything perfectly," I begin. My fingers trace the military challenge coin in my pocket, a reminder of who I am, where I've been. Dr. Martinez doesn't rush me, doesn't push. Professional patience honed through years of working with veterans. Perfectly, I repeat. That's the military training. Always be prepared, always be in control. But Jake's systematic manipulation had exposed something deeper, something more vulnerable. He made me question my own worth, I say finally. The words feel like confession, like releasing a pressure valve. My phone buzzes, Sarah's name on the screen. She's been my lifeline, my constant, my fellow veteran who understands that healing isn't about forgetting. It's about integrating. Doctor. Martinez watches me. Professional observation, not judgment. "What does questioning your worth look like?" she asks. I pull out the stack of documents. Expense reports, communication logs, the physical evidence of Jake's systematic deception. "I kept thinking," I say, "what if I hadn't caught this? What if I had believed him?" The military teaches you to read terrain, to understand hidden threats. But corporate landscapes, those were different, more complex, more insidious. "Tell me about the dinner," Dr. Martinez says. I close my eyes. The memory arrives like a tactical replay. The expensive restaurant, the $312 bill, Jake's public humiliation. He called me a gold digger, I say, in front of his entire team. My military training had always been about maintaining composure, about strategic response. But this felt like a different kind of battlefield. And how did that make you feel? Dr. Martinez asks. The question seems simple, but it's anything but. I think about my military service, about the Purple Heart in my drawer, about the surgeries, the rehabilitation, the moments when survival wasn't guaranteed. Small, I say finally. He made me feel small. Sarah's text arrives. Coffee later? I respond immediately. Absolutely. Doctor. Martinez makes a note. Professional, precise. Small isn't permanent, she says. Small is a temporary state, not a definition. We spend the next hour unpacking layers. Corporate manipulation, professional gaslighting, the subtle ways systemic toxicity operates. Your consulting business, she says. Tell me about it. I describe the Veterans Leadership Program, supporting professionals in transition, creating support systems, understanding that professional adaptation isn't just about getting a job, it's about maintaining dignity. You're turning pain into purpose, Dr. Martinez observes. By the end of the session, something has shifted, not completely resolved, but acknowledged, processed. Outside, Denver's afternoon light feels different, warmer, more intentional. Sarah waits at our usual coffee shop, her prosthetic leg positioned carefully, her military bearing evident in every movement. "How was therapy?" she asks. I order first, an Americano, black, the way we drank coffee in deployment. "Processing," I say. She understands. No further explanation needed. Mike joins us, another thread in our support network, another veteran who understands that healing is a collective journey. HR at Quantum Dynamics called, he says. They want to develop a new veteran support program. Jake's professional downfall becoming a pathway for systemic change. My phone buzzes. An email from a veteran support network. Speaking engagement. Leadership conference. To transformation, Sarah says, raising her coffee. I raise my cup in response. A toast to survival, to resilience, to turning pain into purpose. The afternoon stretches before us, not as a battlefield, but as a landscape of possibility. The workspace takes shape around me, not an office, a mission control. My consulting firm's headquarters occupies a renovated warehouse in Denver's industrial district. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook the city, a landscape of possibility. Veterans Leadership Transition Program. The words are painted on the main conference room wall. Not just a business, a mission. Sarah helps me arrange the final details. Her prosthetic leg, no limitation. Just another piece of adaptive equipment. Mike coordinates our first cohort of veteran professionals transitioning to civilian careers. This is more than a business, I tell them. This is a support system. The program's structure emerges from our collective experiences. Not just job placement. Comprehensive support. Understanding that professional transition is a holistic journey. My phone buzzes. An email from Quantum Dynamics. They want to partner. Develop corporate training programs focused on veteran integration. Professional development. Systemic understanding. Jake's professional collapse, becoming a pathway for meaningful change. Jessica, my lawyer sister, reviews the partnership documents. Her legal expertise transforming corporate language into strategic opportunity. You're creating something revolutionary, she says. The first cohort arrives. Veterans from different branches, different experiences, united by a common journey of transition. Marine Corps, veteran, Air Force technical specialist, Army logistics coordinator, Navy communications expert, each with a story, each with potential waiting to be unlocked. Our first workshop feels like a mission briefing. But instead of combat strategies, we're developing professional adaptation strategies. Corporate culture is its own kind of terrain, I tell them, and you're trained to navigate complex environments. We break down professional challenges, systematic barriers, the hidden landscapes of corporate communication. Mike leads a session on professional networking. Sarah discusses adaptive strategies. For workplace integration, I focus on leadership development. Your military training is your greatest asset, I explain. Not a limitation. During a break, Carlos, a Marine Corps veteran, approaches me. How did you do this? He asks. After everything, I think about Jake, about the $312 dinner bill, about public humiliation, about systematic manipulation. By refusing to be defined by someone else's narrative, I respond. The afternoon progresses. Workshops, strategy sessions, professional skill development, my consulting. Business becomes more than a job. It becomes a mission, a support system. Quantum Dynamics sends representatives. They want to understand veteran integration, not as a diversity checkbox, but as a meaningful professional strategy. We were wrong, their HR director tells me, about how we've approached veteran hiring. Jake's professional collapse becomes a catalyst for systemic change. Sarah monitors our first cohort's progress. Data-driven insights, strategic support. Look at these initial assessment numbers, she says, showing me comprehensive tracking metrics. Veteran, job retention rates, professional development trajectories, comprehensive support system outcomes. Mike develops our technology platform, secure, encrypted, supporting veteran professionals across multiple industries. My phone buzzes. A text from Dr. Martinez. How are you processing this transformation? I send a simple response. Turning pain into purpose. The workspace feels alive, vibrant, a testament to collective resilience. Jessica helps develop our legal support framework, protecting veteran professionals, creating systemic accountability measures. This is about more than individual success, she says. This is about creating sustainable professional ecosystems. Our first major corporate partnership takes shape. Not just job placement, comprehensive integration. Leadership workshops, professional development programs, systemic support strategies. Carlos approaches me again. I never thought I could do this, he says, pointing to his professional development portfolio. You were always capable, I respond. You just needed the right support system. The afternoon light changes, shifts, reflects off our workspaces. Industrial windows. Mike coordinates our national expansion strategy, virtual support networks, comprehensive professional development platforms. We're creating something unprecedented, he says. Sarah reviews our initial impact metrics, veterans placed, professional development trajectories, systemic support outcomes. This is what accountability looks like, she says. My phone buzzes. Another speaking invitation. Leadership conference, Veteran Professional Development Summit. The workspace around me feels like a mission accomplished, not through destruction, but through strategic, purposeful transformation. 2. Resilience, I say quietly. The city stretches before me. A landscape of possibility, of professional potential, of systemic change. The leadership conference feels like a military operation. Precision, purpose, intention. I stand at the podium, Denver's convention center bustling with corporate executives, veteran support professionals, and transition specialists. Professional transition isn't about finding a job, I begin. It's about reclaiming your narrative. My military dress uniform sits perfectly. A deliberate choice. A statement, not just clothing, a representation of journey, of resilience. Sarah sits in the front row, prosthetic leg positioned carefully, her eyes tracking every movement, every word. Mike monitors our live stream, capturing the conference for veterans who couldn't physically attend. The audience represents a cross-section of professional experiences, corporate leaders, veteran support organizations, human resource professionals, each seeking understanding. We're not diversity statistics, I continue. We're strategic assets. My consulting firm's impact metrics scroll behind me. Comprehensive data, professional success rates, systemic transformation. Jessica sits beside the conference organizers, her legal expertise providing strategic context to our presentation. The Quantum Dynamics HR director, who first approached me after Jake's professional collapse, introduces me. Captain Rachel Henderson, she says, isn't just telling a story, she's creating a movement. My phone buzzes. A text from Carlos, one of our first veteran transition program participants. Just got promoted, the message reads. A small victory. A significant transformation. The presentation becomes more than a speech. It's a tactical briefing, a comprehensive strategy for veteran professional integration. Mike's technology platform allows real-time interaction. Veterans across the country submitting questions, sharing experiences, building a national support network. Corporate culture is terrain, I explain, and you've been trained to navigate the most complex environments imaginable. During the break, corporate leaders approach, not with tokenistic interest, but with genuine strategic curiosity. How do we actually support veteran professionals? They ask. I share our comprehensive approach, not just hiring. Genuine integration, understanding, support. Sarah coordinates our booth. Comprehensive resources, professional development materials, strategic networking opportunities. Dar Martinez, my therapist, sits in the audience, observing, understanding the broader psychological transformation happening. My consulting firm's impact becomes tangible. Not just numbers, human stories. Veterans, finding professional purpose. Corporations understanding genuine talent. Systemic barriers breaking down. This is about more than individual success, I tell a group of corporate HR professionals. This is about creating professional ecosystems that value diverse experiences. The afternoon progresses. Workshop sessions, strategic discussions, comprehensive professional development strategies. Mike's technology platform allows veterans nationwide to connect, share experiences, build support networks. We're creating something unprecedented, Jessica observes. Quantum Dynamics announces a comprehensive veteran hiring and integration program, directly inspired by our work, by our exposure of systemic professional challenges. Jake's professional collapse becoming a catalyst for meaningful change. My phone continues buzzing, speaking invitations, partnership proposals, veterans sharing transformation stories. Sarah reviews our latest impact metrics. Professional success rates, systemic transformation indicators. Look at these numbers, she says, showing me comprehensive data visualization. Veteran job retention rates significantly higher than industry standards. Professional development trajectories expanding. Comprehensive support system outcomes revolutionary. The conference becomes more than an event. It becomes a movement. Corporate leaders, veteran support organizations, professional development specialists, all converging around a single mission: genuine professional integration. Daughter Martinez approaches during a break. How are you processing this transformation? She asks. I think about Jake, about the $312 dinner bill, about public humiliation, about systematic manipulation, turning pain into purpose, I respond. The afternoon light changes, shifts, reflects. Off the convention center's massive windows, Mike coordinates our national expansion strategy, virtual support networks, comprehensive professional development platforms. We're creating something that's never existed before, he says. Sarah reviews our initial impact metrics, veterans placed, professional development trajectories, systemic support outcomes. This is what accountability looks like, she says. The conference concludes, not with an ending, but with a beginning, corporate partnerships forming, veteran support, networks expanding, professional development strategies being reimagined. My phone buzzes. Another speaking invitation. Another opportunity to share our mission. To resilience, I say quietly, the city stretches before me, a landscape of possibility, of professional potential, of systemic change. 1 year after the quantum dynamics confrontation, my life looks nothing like I expected. Nothing like Jake imagined. Nothing like the narrative he tried to impose. My consulting firm occupies an entire floor in downtown Denver. What started as a small veteran support initiative has become a national movement. Professional transformation, systemic accountability, genuine support. Sarah sits across from me in our strategy meeting, her prosthetic leg propped comfortably, Mike reviewing our latest impact metrics on the large digital display. We've placed over 500 veterans in strategic corporate positions this quarter, Mike says. Retention rates are 87%, nearly triple the industry standard. Our team represents a mosaic of military experiences: Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, each bringing unique perspectives, each transforming professional landscapes. Carlos, the Marine veteran who once doubted his potential, now leads our West Coast expansion. His journey from uncertain transition to confident leader, a testament to our approach. My phone buzzes, an email from Quantum Dynamics. They want to expand our partnership, develop comprehensive veteran integration programs for their global offices. Jessica reviews the partnership documents, her legal expertise ensuring our mission remains protected. Strategic, intentional. This is more than a business contract, she says. This is a systemic transformation. Dr. Martinez joins our meeting virtually, her psychological expertise helping us understand the deeper dimensions of professional transition. Healing isn't linear, she reminds us. Neither is professional growth. Our workshop spaces feel like mission control, not corporate training rooms, strategic adaptation centers. Veterans from across the country participate in our programs, some joining virtually, some in our physical locations, all united by a common journey of professional reinvention. The $312 dinner bill that once represented humiliation now feels like a distant memory, a turning point, not an ending, a beginning. Tell me about your lowest moment, journalists often ask during interviews. I tell them about Jake, about the public humiliation, about being called a gold digger. But I always end with the same message. That moment didn't define me, I explain. It revealed my strength. Our technology platform, developed by Mike, allows veterans nationwide to connect, share experiences, build support networks. Quantum Dynamics implements our veteran integration model. Other corporations begin following suit. We're creating a movement, Sarah says during our strategy session. Our impact metrics tell a story beyond numbers. Veterans finding purpose, corporations discovering untapped talent, systemic barriers being dismantled. Jake's name rarely comes up. When it does, it's a footnote, a catalyst, not the central narrative. He did me a favor, I tell Mike during one of our strategy sessions. Mike understands. Veteran support isn't about revenge, it's about transformation. My personal life has transformed too. Not in ways Jake would have predicted. Jason, the quantum dynamics analyst who initially provided evidence, becomes a close professional ally. Our connection built on mutual respect. Professional integrity. I never expected this, he tells me during our monthly strategy lunch. Neither did I respond. The veterans we support send constant updates. Professional achievements. Personal transformations. Systemic changes. You saved my career, Carlos tells me during a national conference. You saved your own career, I respond. We just provided the support system. My military challenge coin sits on my desk. A reminder of where I've been, not as a limitation, but as a source of strength. Sarah develops comprehensive adaptive technology programs. Mike expands our virtual support networks. Jessica ensures our legal frameworks remain robust. Dr. Martinez continues to provide psychological support. Understanding that professional transition is a holistic journey. Healing happens in community, she reminds us. The $312 dinner bill is framed in my office, not as a trophy of pain, but as a reminder of transformation. Quantum Dynamics becomes a model for veteran integration. Other corporations begin adopting our strategies. We're changing corporate culture, Sarah says. My consulting firm becomes more than a business. It becomes a movement, a support system, a strategic approach to professional adaptation. The city of Denver, once just a location, becomes a symbol of professional reinvention. To resilience, Mike says during our annual team gathering, we raise our glasses. Not in celebration of individual success, but of collective transformation. The landscape of professional support shifts, one veteran at a time, one corporation at a time, one strategic intervention at a time. My phone buzzes. Another speaking invitation, another opportunity to share our mission. The afternoon light changes, shifts, reflects off our office windows. Landscape of possibility stretches before us. The annual Veteran Support Gala transforms the grand ballroom into a landscape of possibility. Our consulting firm's impact stretches across the room. Veterans from every branch, every background, united by a common journey of transformation. Sarah stands beside me, her prosthetic leg a testament to adaptive strength. Mike coordinates the event's technical operations. Jessica ensures every legal detail is perfectly managed. Look at what we've built, Sarah says, surveying the room. Corporate leaders mingle with veteran professionals, not as separate entities, but as a unified ecosystem of support. Carlos, the Marine veteran who once doubted his potential, now leads our West Coast expansion. He's presenting our latest impact report, numbers that tell a story of systemic change. We've placed over $1,000 veterans in strategic corporate positions, he announces. Our retention rate is now 92%. The room erupts in applause, not just professional appreciation, but genuine recognition of collective achievement. My phone buzzes. A text from Dr. Martinez. Proud of you, her message reads. Quantum Dynamics CEO takes the stage. Their veteran integration program, born from our initial confrontation, now a model for corporate transformation. Captain Henderson transformed our understanding of veteran talent, he says. I think about Jake, about the 312 of dinner bill, about public humiliation. Those moments feel like distant memories now. Sarah pulls me aside during a break. We're getting another federal grant, she says, excitement bubbling through her professional demeanor. Mike's technology platform allows veterans nationwide to connect, share experiences, build support networks in real time. We're creating more than a business, Mike explains to a group of potential investors. We're building a comprehensive support ecosystem. Jessica reviews our legal frameworks, ensuring our mission remains protected, strategic, intentional. This is systemic change, she says, studying our expansion documents. Veterans from our first cohort share their stories, professional transformations, personal victories, systemic barriers dismantled. Carlos talks about his journey from uncertain transition to confident leader. His story resonates across the room. I never thought I could do this, he tells the audience. But with the right support system, anything is possible. The room feels electric, charged with possibility, with potential. Dr. Martinez joins us virtually. Her psychological expertise providing deeper context to our professional support model. Healing happens in community, she reminds everyone. Professional growth is a collective journey. Our technology platform demonstrates real-time impact. Interactive displays show veteran success stories, professional development trajectories, systemic transformation indicators, corporate leaders. Approach. Not with tokenistic interest, but with genuine strategic curiosity. How do we actually support veteran professionals? They ask. We share our comprehensive approach, not just hiring, genuine integration, understanding, support. The gala becomes more than an event. It becomes a movement. Jason, the quantum dynamics analyst who initially provided evidence, now works closely with our team. Our connection built on mutual respect, professional integrity. We're creating something unprecedented, he tells me during a strategy discussion. My military challenge coin sits in my pocket, a reminder of where I've been, not as a limitation, but as a source of strength. Veterans from across the country share their experiences, some joining virtually, some in person, all united by a common journey of professional reinvention. We're more than statistics, one veteran tells the audience. We're strategic assets. The room agrees. Applause thunders through the ballroom. Sarah reviews our latest impact metrics. Professional success rates. Systemic transformation indicators. Look at these numbers, she says, showing comprehensive data visualization. Veteran job retention rates significantly higher than industry standards. Professional development trajectories expanding. Comprehensive support system outcomes. Revolutionary. The evening progresses. Networking. Sharing. Supporting. My phone continues buzzing. Speaking invitations. Partnership proposals. Veterans sharing. Transformation stories. Mike coordinates our national expansion strategy, virtual support networks, comprehensive professional development platforms. We're creating something that's never existed before, he says. Jessica ensures our legal frameworks remain robust, protecting our mission. Our vision. Dr. Martinez provides ongoing psychological support, understanding that professional transition is a holistic journey. Healing isn't linear, she reminds us. Neither is professional growth. The ballroom feels alive, vibrant, a testament to collective resilience. As the evening concludes, Carlos raises a toast. To resilience, he says, we all raise our glasses. Not just in celebration of individual success, but of collective transformation. The city lights twinkle outside, a landscape of possibility, of professional potential, of systemic change. My journey from that $312 dinner bill to this moment feels like a testament to something larger. Not just personal transformation, but collective potential. 2 years after that pivotal dinner, I sit in my office overlooking Denver, the city that witnessed my transformation, the landscape of my reinvention. The $312 dinner bill, now framed on my wall, represents more than a moment of humiliation. It's a reminder of how far I've come, how resilience transforms pain into purpose. Sarah enters, her prosthetic leg moving, with the same precision she once used in military operations. Mike follows, bringing our latest impact reports. Jessica reviews expansion strategies. We've changed the conversation, Mike says, displaying our comprehensive data. Over 1,500 veterans successfully transitioned into strategic corporate positions. 94% retention rate. Comprehensive support systems that transform professional landscapes. My phone buzzes. A text from Carlos, now leading our national veteran support initiatives. Another corporate partnership confirmed. His message reads, I think about Jake, about that night in the restaurant, about being called a gold digger. Those moments no longer hold power. They're simply chapters in a larger story of transformation. Dr. Martinez's words echo in my mind. Healing isn't about forgetting, it's about integration. Our consulting firm has become more than a business. It's a movement, a support system, a comprehensive approach to veteran professional development. Quantum Dynamics, the company that once represented my lowest moment, now leads veteran integration strategies nationwide. We were wrong, their CEO told me during our last partnership meeting, and you showed us a better way. The afternoon light catches my military challenge coin, a reminder of where I've been, not as a limitation, but as a source of strength. Jason, the analyst who first provided evidence of Jake's misconduct, now leads our corporate partnership division. Everything happens for a reason, he often says. Our technology platform connects veterans nationwide, sharing experiences, building support networks, creating systemic change. This is about more than individual success. I tell our team during strategy sessions. This is about collective transformation. As the day concludes, I reflect on the journey from that 312-hour dinner bill to a national movement of veteran support and professional development. My story isn't unique. It's a testament to resilience, to the power of support systems, to transforming pain into purpose, to every veteran watching, to every professional facing challenges, to everyone who's been told they're not enough. Your worth is not defined by someone else's narrative. Your potential is not limited by past experiences. Your journey is your own. Speaking directly to camera. If this story resonated with you, if you found hope in these words, then I invite you to subscribe to this channel. Hit that subscribe button. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. We're building more than a community. We're creating a movement of resilience, support, and transformation. Tap the notification bell. Join our journey. Because your story matters. Your potential is limitless. To resilience, to transformation, to you.